Hello and welcome to Bump to Business Owner. I'm your host, Caroline Marshall. And today we are back with, it's the first mini episode of 2026 and our 100 episode, which I can't lie, it's been one of those things which actually is very fitting with the theme I've gone with. Who knew? But I felt so much pressure with 100 episodes because, my content lead, Steph, thank you. I am doing what you've told me. So much of my life is doing what the team tell me. And I wouldn't have it any other way. But Steph told me to mention that because we've recorded 100 podcasts and we've got here over the past 3 years, we are in the top 6% of podcasts globally. So therefore, if that's not a reason to celebrate, what is? So the pressure really did feel a lot. And then it got to a point I was like, this is just going to be me, myself and I. Let's start how we mean to go on. Although the first episode was definitely a guest episode. Let me have a think. Who was it? I think it was Stephanie from Don't Buy Her Flowers. What a great first guest. Well, today you just have me. Just me, myself and I. Oh, and the first one I actually recorded with was Holly, the Pilates PT. Also a lovely guest. What two lovely women I had. So go listen back to their episodes because I still think everything we were talking about 2.5 years ago still so relevant now. Also, this is a little mini series we're doing, and then the next one we're doing, some news, some Bump to Business Owner news, will be in collaboration with the wonderful Lucy Legal. We're doing it in partnership with her, and she's been on the podcast before. Go back and listen. She was fantastic. Two young girls, boy mum and a girl mum, collaborating, and we've got some great guest lines up, and we're going to dive deeper. So I'm really excited for this season. That will be coming end of April. Haven't got the date yet. So stay tuned, watch out for that. We're only doing 4 episodes for March. I'm taking everything a lot easier this year because, I think I've been running so quickly with the podcast. I think we're at a point we're quite established and I don't have to. I'm giving myself permission. This also fits in theme with today's episode, which the theme is, I just kind of felt inspired by what I've been going through recently, what the world's been going through recently, some themes I'm going to since the Female Founders Rise report came out. I'm thinking about the report also that came out last year, which we featured on the podcast, The Truth of Female Entrepreneurship, which was done by Positive Entrepreneurship, Noni and Yasmin. And I'm just thinking about, how do you keep going? How do we keep going in business when things just feel really, really against you? And I have to be completely open. I felt like one of these. And I think I've got my friend Kira Mahal, the Motivate PT, who came on the podcast end of last year. Check out her episode. But me and her met on the Goldman Sachs 10KSB program we did last year. And every time we're at an event together, we're like, we just look at each other and we're like, you get it. Because she also runs a people business like me, a service business. And there's times it's beautiful, it's amazing. I mean, this morning one of my clients cancelled the call and her VA messaged me going, Caroline, take this half an hour to either do this, go for a walk, have a cup of tea, do something. I'm like, how lovely is this? I've got someone within personal well-being coach on the team. So thank you, Steph. I really appreciated those words. Did I do what you said? No, but but it gave me the happy endorphins knowing that someone was looking out for me and making sure I spent my time wisely and wisely looking after my well-being. And so it's just been a lot. And I think sometimes we can talk about how to start a business, how to take maternity leave, how to do all these things. And sometimes it's a case of like, how the F do you keep going when everything just feels really against you? And I think we can all feel like that with the world right now. I know people were talking about how tough the economy is, depending on what industry you're in. So I'm going to talk about some ways that the past week, how I've reminded myself on how to keep going, and other times so I've had this, because I also have to remember this isn't the first time I've had this. And also, normally, as one of my team members, also perks of having a team, Charlotte, reminded me on Monday, as the time I'm recording this, last week was a lunar eclipse and a full moon, apparently a wolf moon. I don't know what that means, but I was like, great, I'm just so pleased I can blame the moon for this. So that's great. That made me feel a lot better. So that wasn't actually part of what I was going to say today. But if in doubt, look up the moon and see if you can blame the moon for anything going wrong in your life, which was my case last week. And so part of my easing back on the podcast, or just being more strategic with it, making sure we've got excellent partners and putting out that we want to work with more partners. So it's a bit level up from sponsorship. You can help co-create season. It makes me feel less lonely. And the lovely Lucy Legal has stepped in. It's going to be the first. So it's an opportunity to have a little podcast of your own without the commitment and the investment that I've put in for the past 3 years. And if we're aligned and you're aligned with the audience, it's a great opportunity. So get in touch if that is something you might be interested in. Lucy will be our first one, so we might even throw some legal bits in there, but we're definitely really doubling down on the real realities in her season of motherhood and what it really takes, what it really looks like in the thick of it day to day. So I'm so excited to explore it with her, and she might be interviewing me as well, which will be fun. Yes, so I saw Giovanni Fletcher, Happy Mum, Happy Baby, probably one of the OG mum podcasts. It's a brilliant podcast. Got to 300 episodes, and I was listening to that podcast back in 2016. Actually, I wasn't. One of my colleagues was. I was pregnant with my first, and she wasn't. But she was listening to the podcast for me. I wasn't ready to listen to parenting podcasts back then, and I thought, you listen to the podcast and let me know if there's anything I should know about motherhood. But then I finally embraced motherhood and did listen to it, and she's excellent. She got to 300 episodes, which is amazing. What a milestone. But how long has she been around for? Like, I feel like her podcast seems to always be there, always running, but she's only done 300 episodes, and she's been running a lot longer than we have. Actually, maybe this timeline is a load of rubbish, actually, in my head. 300 episodes is a lot, actually. It's a machine. I don't think, unless anyone listening, unless you're a podcaster, I don't think you really... I don't consider myself a podcaster, but I have a podcast. How much work this is. I actually put a client off doing a podcast the other day, which is probably a bad upsell from my part. But he was like, do you have a podcast? Do you recommend it? Because and I was like, he knows what he wants to talk about. He knows what he wants to say. He's very aligned. But he'd also given me about half an hour about what his goals are, what he's trying to achieve, which is like the opposite of what happens when you have a podcast. So basically more balance, focusing on things that light him up, less work. And I was like, look, the podcast is going to give you more of those things, more work. Obviously you can delegate like I do, my lovely team, Mary, Steph, Rachel, award-winning. We're an award-winning team for the 100 episodes. Delegate all of that, but then you still are like, I'm being chased on today's episode. I have left it to the last minute because I had this huge blocker on it's 100 episodes. I've got to make it big, and it's just going to be me showing up, which is so relatable to what I'm talking about right now. But I put him off starting a podcast and said he's going to have a co-host who bounces off him. And I also did say is that you can, which leads to a point I'm going to mention in a minute. It's like you could just test it. I think so much in life, the more I do a business, people think like it's all or nothing with a business. You're either successful or you're not. You either go freelance or you're not. And you're in the freelance world forever if you've gone freelance. You'll never go employed, which is not true, because the amount of people I know that have got employed since I started in this business and probably come back to freelance at some point. It's like a just boomerang back in and out. And so I said you could test it with 6 episodes, see how it goes, and because it is a commitment, and so don't feel you've got to commit to this life that I've committed to. Although I don't feel like that either. I keep coming back because I like to, and I like you guys. The Bump to Business Owner community is a wonderful one, and I keep showing up because I know what we're doing is needed. So my 3 points of this episode was going to be like, for those who, how do you keep showing up? And you can be at any stage. You can still be like early doors and you feel like you're not getting your traction, not getting your clients, only getting 100 followers on Instagram. Social media is prime case in point for just keep showing up. And one day I believe it will come back. It's still not, but at some point it will. Actually, LinkedIn's going all right, I have to say. Not that I like it, although don't let the LinkedIn gods hear that. So when I was going through a tough time this past week, and it really, really was one of the most challenging periods in business. And I don't know if it was just that. I mean, it was definitely the moon, and it was definitely part me. Something that I remembered when I went through this briefly in January 2025, I just felt in a rut. And I was like, and I'm feeling the same point. I've got a lot of potential clients in my pipeline, but I've just got to keep going. Keep swimming, as Dory would say it, from Finding Nemo, because we are parents after all, and we can all relate to, is it Dory? Or Dora? Dory. And it's that consistency piece that gets talked about, flown about a lot online. And it's because sometimes consistency can feel like that means 5 days a week, when consistency doesn't mean that. It means keep showing up, keep talking about it, and talk about it with someone. So sometimes for me, the keep going is by talking through what I'm going through, whether it's with the team, my dad, aka business coach, my husband, who keeps trying to fix everything. So he's the worst person to talk to sometimes. Sorry, Greg. And you might need a coach, not a coach, but a session, or a stakeholder, someone who's invested in you, your success. Someone who's not might also be helpful, who will just sit and listen and sit there. And I just encourage you, this moment, January last year, I think I was on a call with my dad every week, and he'd just sit and listen to me and be like, this is normal, keep going. It might be in a WhatsApp network you're in. Those ones can be quite hard, actually. I do appreciate, because sometimes people only show up when they're winning, and when you're not winning, you're like, good, I'm going to put this on here, unless it gets really bad. I did do that with the Kerno ladies. I've got a WhatsApp group called Kerno Ladies, Cornish group, hello. And I did do that. I don't know what they were talking about, probably something nice. And I just went, I've had the shittest week, and now I've got to go and show up on a panel and pretend I care right now. And right now I want to go to bed. And then it turns out my friend was literally the double of me in whatever she was doing. I never asked her how her panel went. What a bad friend I am. I was very, very self-absorbed last week. And and it also meant by vocalizing that, probably not at an appropriate time for anyone else, when everyone else was doing fine. I think someone had commented how lovely the weather was. I said, I hope I've just put my laundry out. Isn't this lovely? I just went, no, I've had a shit week. Turned out I wasn't the only one. So always feel empowered to take that risk and be the one that puts a downer on a week. As long as you're not doing it every week, that's okay. Just don't be the fun sponge Debbie Downer every week. And it's fine. I don't know whether it was, but I felt less alone. And that's all that mattered during my bleak point in business last week. But I was even I don't know, I was questioning quite a lot. And I think it's a good idea to keep talking about it. You can still be, I'm in full belief, you can still be an empowering, inspiring, but just be a little bit more human, and just keep going and do all of that. And then at the same time, by keeping going, as a service-based business owner, any of my service friends here, might be a bit different with product businesses, I'm not experienced on that side, was also to keep showing up. And because we were at a point, my job is sales and business development and making sure the clients are okay. So retaining clients as well. And that means just keep showing up every day, checking that the clients are okay, actioning things that clients need, going networking and showing up in any of my other sales pipelines. I keep testing LinkedIn, making sure I was posting still. LinkedIn on my bad week? I don't know. 1 week, LinkedIn clearly punished me for only posting twice rather than 3 times, which I'm not impressed with. I think, what kind of world are we living in where you get punished for posting once less? I even post 3 times at Christmas. Dare it punish me for only posting? I swear it punished me for only showing up twice the other week. So if it's okay to take a break, by the way. I'm not being unhealthy in this, and I won't show up on stories when I'm just feeling in the thick of it. And it could be in a happy way. I'm sometimes in the thick of it. If your thing, like me, whatever your role is in your business, and if you're a solo person, God bless you, it's everything. But it's whatever your need is. Is it just keeping your clients happy? Is it just keeping your team happy? Is it just doing the work, if that's what you're doing the delivery? If that's what you need to focus on, just show up and do it. And it sounds so hard, but honestly, because I really, really was struggling on the way to this panel on the way to Birmingham last week. And I think some people around me might have heard my chats, and I was like, turns out the guy near me, I was also heard his conversation, was a hypnotherapist. I was like, I really could do with you right now. I don't know if he was speaking quite loudly because he could know that he seemed very calm as well, unlike me. I was like, I really could just do with some bespoke hypnotherapy in this hour and a half I've got on this train right now. He should have stopped me in everything I was doing and say, let's have a session. That wouldn't have been weird at all. Probably would have said yes. And I didn't want to go, but I don't like letting people down. And I didn't want to let these people down. And in the end, it was wonderful. I got a call from it. I built some stronger relationships in that part of the world. So these things always matter in a service-based business. So whatever is the equivalent in yours, if you're not a service-based business, and it might be going to product shows, and because you're selling and you're selling a product B2B, or you've got to show up and get your name out there. Keep showing up. It's really hard, and I think that's can be what such a difference is. You can't just take a sick day. You can. So yeah, I don't want to do the hustle culture because I'm leading into what I say next. But I went to 2 networking events on Tuesday. After this, hopefully I get finished done, because I've got to pick my kid up from football, take him to football, sit there and watch football for a bit because he's never been, make sure he's okay, and then go into town for another networking thing. And just keep showing up and doing what you're doing. If you know that this is a blip and a phase, just keep showing up. Keep doing it, and you just got to have faith, as George Michael would say. Keep having faith and go by your values, which is a really good one. So I'll go back to this one in a minute. And also remember, I was looking at, was it the Emmy Faust Female Founders Rise report that just came out recently? 78% of survey respondents said that human connection was a central theme to female entrepreneurship. And there is no coincidence that genuine connection is one of Upsource's values. And we are a female founded business, obviously, in an industry that's a 98% female and a majority female team, although we've got 3 men now. Whoop. And there's no coincidence. It's because showing up, being around people when you're going through a tough time, we all know it is so easy to feel you need to work through it, to sit behind there. It's too easy to sit at your laptop. So get out there and talk to people and just have that human connection away from the WhatsApp groups, because those can make you feel angry as well. Getting up and being around other people will make you feel better. And that's why I went to that event when I was telling everyone everything was shit, when people were just trying to say it was really lovely and sunny outside. And I was on a train trying to get hypnotherapized by a random stranger. But I knew the people who I'd see at this event, I knew it would be a lovely event, and I knew it would be worth my time. Not just worth my time, but I knew alone, just saying hello and feeling better around a lovely group of PAs, Mel, Dan, who run the PA forum, I just knew I'd feel better around them. And I was not wrong, along with 2 glasses of Prosecco. That also made me feel better too. But now I'm going to contradict myself. So I said I went to 2 networking events on Tuesday, and then I came home and I felt so glad to be home. Because my friend did message me, who's also self-employed, and she was like, how do you do this? And how do you go back to work after networking like this and not need to sit in a dark room? The answer is I do need to sit in a dark room. The answer is I need my downtime more than most people. People think I really thrive off other people's energy, and I don't. I do really like other people though, but I also like not being around other people. It's a very hard life to live. And this is why yesterday, it wasn't planned. Tuesday night, very late, I was like, right, I worked late on Tuesday to clear the decks of work emails and stuff that I'd obviously missed during the day. And I decided to message the core team, the management team, and say, I am taking a personal day tomorrow. And I called it a personal day because I want to normalise taking personal days in your business, building white time in your calendar. So from the True Cost of Female Entrepreneurship study, women are 70% more likely than men to struggle with demands of family and business life. I actually don't believe that's that. I think it's higher, but okay. I think it's higher because women just cope better. Can I say that? And 23% of respondents felt explicitly held back by the guilt they experience as a mother and a business owner. I mean, guilt is such a wasted emotion, but yeah, we all get it. And so I wanted to normalise taking a personal day that I'd clearly had a hard time. I've been to loads of events. I'm out there, and I just needed a day. And not only did I need a day, I had a big mortgage form to do. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Well, yeah, that's why I needed time. I knew that was the thing that was building up in my mind and not letting me focus on what I needed to in the business. And it was worth its weight because we now have a mortgage. And, you know, anyone knows the mortgage rates have been rising. If anyone else is remortgaging like we were, it was a necessary task that took me 3 hours and I couldn't delegate it. And it did take me 3 hours. So I needed that day off. And then I had a nap. I had a nap in the middle of the day. And I also told my son when I picked him up from school, when we were talking, filling in his positivity diary, which I filled him, I said he was looking after himself by drawing. I'd looked after myself that day by having a nap. So not only did I have a nap, I normalized having rest to my children. And so do that. I think while I've told you to keep going, keep showing up, it's also just knowing you're human and we all just need a little bit of a break and a mind break and a rest break. So I went to the gym, did my 3-hour mortgage form, which I'm still not impressed by. Why? I'm going to build a business speeding this up. And then and I don't think I was being ridiculous with that. Why did it take me 3 hours? Like, I just still don't understand. But I had a nap afterwards. And then I was going to force myself out to pickleball. And I did force myself out to go to pickleball, which I've only been once this year. I think I might be a fair weather pickleball player. Turned up and it was cancelled and it wasn't meant to be. I was meant to rest. So I went to bed. So keep going, show up, get that human connection. Very important. But remember, it's okay to then just take a day and recognize how bloody hard you might have been working for a while. And that was my day yesterday, even if it still included working hard on a mortgage form. But I did watch some TV at the same time, so that helped. Has anyone watched the new series of Ladies of London? Message me if so. Mark Francis, this is it, if you know him from Made in Chelsea. So yeah, it's fun. But most of all, I know it's still very much my business is aligned with my values. It's what I want to do. It's what I'm passionate about. And all of this is a hurdle that I've just had to overcome. A blip, anything, just something I've had to go through. All of us go through it as founders. So it's normalizing that. But also know, for those of you who are questioning if this is right for you, if you should be doing this, it is okay to change your mind. And I don't think we normalize that enough. It was like seen as a bad thing during pregnancy when it's like, oh, you'll change your mind when the baby comes. And I'm like, yeah, like no one's ever changed their mind. And I do think we're so like this or that. And it's so like, oh, she's running a business, so that's her now. And it's like, not necessarily. It might be more fluid than that, especially when we're all going through matrixence. We're all changing. The world's changing. And the moons keep impacting us. So it's okay to pivot, explore, and change your mind and give yourself permission. And you will only really, really, really know that. Oh, I'm now quoting like Rosie Dixon's pause framework. She came on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. So if you're thinking, you've done everything I've said and it's still not working and you might be needing to change, go to Rosie, go to her episode and book on one of her retreats or read her book that comes out later in the year, because it's okay to change our minds and pivot and pause. And I'm not doing that because I know I've just needed a few rest days, a little bit of rest, and it's Mother's Day this Sunday, so I'm going to get some more, and a roast dinner apparently. Let's do. So let me know what you think. Does this resonate with you? Please, 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 please support the podcast. We're at 100 episodes, top 6%. Let's like reach another goal the next year. We need to talk more about all of the stuff women, like I said, according to this True Cost of Female Entrepreneurship report, we are 17% more likely than men to struggle with the demands of family and business life. I still think it's higher based on nothing, even though that's the data. And just know what we're trying to do is too much and keep out. By the way, I kept talking about white space and a client looked to me earlier like, what's white space? And I was like, basically for me it's actually blue space. I market blue, but time that is clear in your calendar. And if a whole day doesn't work, like again, let's lose that all or nothing mind space. Make it 2 hours before the school run. Let me know if this resonated with you. Comments, message me, even if it's just about Ladies of London, the new series, or Below Deck. I watch all the Hey You classics. That's a little bit more about me there. If you want to connect about those, I'm far more likely to respond. Unless you're an upsource client, potential. Also, that is my virtual assistant agency, and I'm going to plug that more because it's thanks to that agency that is 98% female industry that really needs some bigging up here. We provide fractional EAPA business support, operational support to amazing, amazing clients. So whether that's not you, but if you freelance for clients that might want to work with us, let us know as well and tell me your favourite Ladies of London character. Mine is, I've forgotten her name. I'll come back to you on that one. But Thank you so much for listening today. Please continue to support us and share us with your mum friends.